Alright, so this weekend is a UFC fight night. And honestly, I am not as interested in this fight card as the others. Usually, the card right after a pay per view is not that strong. So I am just gonna go over the main card for this. So the first fight of the main card will be Nazem Sandykov versus Terrence McKinney. Sandykov has a career record of 8-1, and he beat Evan Elder by third round TKO in his UFC debut. Well, Terrence McKinney has a career record of 13-5. In his last three fights, he lost to Drew Dober by first round TKO. Then he beat Eric Gonzalez by first round submission. And in his last fight, he lost to Ishmael Bonfim by second round KO. So I'm gonna pick Nazem Sandykov by second round knockout. The next fight will be Norma Dumont versus Chelsea Chandler at women's featherweight. I am honestly a little surprised that the UFC is keeping the women's featherweight division going after Amanda Nunes retired. They really have no depth in that division. But Dumont has a career record of 9-2. In her last three fights, she lost to Macy Charkisian by split decision. Then she beat Danielle Wolf by unanimous decision. And in her last fight, she beat Carol Rosa by unanimous decision. And the UFC does not have rankings for the women's featherweight division. Chelsea Chandler has a career record of 5-1. And in her last fight, she beat Julia Stoliarenko by first round TKO in her UFC debut. So I'm going to choose Chelsea Chandler in this fight by second round knockout. The next fight will be Albert Durev versus Jung Young Park in the middleweight division. Albert Durev has a career record of 16-4. In his last three fights, he beat Roman Kopylov by unanimous decision. He lost to Joaquin Buckley by TKO in the second round. And in his last fight, he beat Chadi Nurjokin by split decision. Jung Young Park has a career record of 16-5. So they have very similar career records. His last three fights, he beat Eric Anders by split decision. Then he beat Joseph Holmes by second round submission. Then he beat Dennis Tyluilin by first round technical submission. This will probably be a pretty competitive fight, but I'm going to choose Jung Young Park by third round submission. Next will be a lightweight fight between Ottoman Azaitar and Francisco Prado. Ottoman Azaitar has a career record of 13-1. In his last three fights, he beat Timu Pakalin by first round knockout. Then he beat Kama Worthy by first round TKO. And in his last fight, he lost his unbeaten record to Matt Fravola when he got KO'd in the first round. As I remember that fight being a little competitive early in the first until Fravola landed an insane overright punch to put Zaitar out cold. Well, Francisco Prado has a career record of 11-1. In his UFC debut, he lost to Jamie Mullarkey by unanimous decision. I'm gonna pick a Zaitar to bounce back in this fight and win by third round knockout. The next fight will be Jack Della Maddalena versus Basil Hafez. Maddalena was supposed to fight last week until his opponent pulled out last minute. So I talked about him in last week's video about UFC 290. But he has a career record of 14-2. He is currently ranked 14th in the welterweight division and has a pretty impressive 4-fight finishing streak. His last three, he beat Ramazan Amiv by first round TKO. Then he beat Danny Roberts by first round TKO. And in his last fight, he beat Randy Brown by first round submission. Well, Bazell has a career record of 8 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw. And he will be making his UFC debut in this fight. So I will be picking Jack Della Maddalena in this fight by... I've been going back and forth in my head with this. I think this will be an early stoppage by first round knockout. Now on to the main event, which will be Holly Holm versus Mayra Bueno Silva in women's bantamweight. Holly Holmes has a career record of 15-6, and she is currently ranked 3rd in the women's bantamweight division. In her last 3 fights, she beat Irene Aldana by unanimous decision. Then she lost to Caitlin Vieira by split decision. And in her last fight, she beat Yana Santos by unanimous decision. Well, Mayra Bueno Silva has a career record of 10 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. In her last 3 fights, she beat Yanin Wu by unanimous decision. She beat Stephanie Egger by first round submission. And in her last fight, she beat Lena Landsberg by second round submission. I forget if I mentioned this, but she is currently ranked 10th, which is a pretty big jump up to go from 10 to 3. That with the experience that Holly Holmes has had in her career, I'm gonna have to go with Holly Holmes by unanimous decision in this fight. But that's just my thoughts on some of the fights this weekend. Let me know what you think.